Did Princess Diana betray Prince Charles, or was she totally innocent? Let's agree at the outset that our goal is not to tarnish the image of characters we used to love, but rather to convey the facts as received from reliable sources. In this episode, you will see the other side of Princess Diana Spencer. We will reveal secrets and shocking surprises that you did not know about before. Chapter 1: Princess Diana's Troubled Family. Princess Diana John Spencer was born on July 1, 1961, in House Park, England. Her family is one of the oldest and most powerful in Britain. Her father is Lord John Spencer, of the nobility. This means that Princess Diana belongs to an ancient and prestigious family, because some believe that she is a commoner or middle class. It is true that she is not from the royal family, but she is from a large and noble family with royal origins called the Honourable. Her father, John Spencer, owns vast and extended land, an area of about 15,000 acres, in addition to many houses and mansions throughout Britain. Despite his great wealth, he was a violent and irritable person, the kind that made the lives of those around him a real hell, to the point that he beat Princess Diana's mother repeatedly and violently. The princess's mother, Lady Frances Shand Kidd, ran away from him and hid behind the door to protect herself from his violence. Princess Diana watched all this in silence and cried, and when she was asked in one of the interviews what she remembered most about her childhood, she replied that she always remembered her mother crying. Chapter 2: The Unusual Way She Met Prince Charles. This violent atmosphere made Princess Diana introverted, lacking in self-confidence, unlike her older sister Sarah Spencer, who was fun, outgoing, and, most importantly, a close friend of Prince Charles. In fact, Prince Charles was befriending a lot of girls, and the press was hunting down every girl associated with his name. One day, Prince Charles saw a beautiful little girl of about 16 years old, and when he asked about her name, she calmly replied that it was Diana, the sister of Sarah Spencer, with whom he was in a relationship. Prince Charles had no objection to befriending Diana. She was tender, beautiful, and, most importantly, a virgin. He then entered into a serious relationship with her in 1977, and neither of them cared what Sarah Spencer might have had to say about this plot twist in their relationship. Their relationship lasted 4 years until Prince Charles realized that he really loved Princess Diana, so he proposed to her in 1981. When the press heard the news, they set up camps in front of the house, and took more than 2,000 pictures of them, especially when they were together on a fishing trip in Scotland. These pictures caught the whole world, and since then, Princess Diana's life has completely changed. The press was chasing her even in her bedroom. Some journalists rented an apartment overlooking their house, and began photographing her using magnifying lenses, in order to observe literally every detail of her life. These journalists insisted that her photos be taken, though immoral, to publish them in their newspapers, as this helps to increase sales fabulously. Chapter 3: Charles and Diana's Engagement and Some Odd Mental Illnesses. On February 24, 1981, Prince Charles was officially engaged to Princess Diana. Princess Diana entered the bosom of the royal family, but with some strange things happening. When Charles went to the hairdresser to attend to his fiancée, and found her wearing a black dress, he told her that the black color meant sadness and mourning, but she did not care. The dress was also revealing of parts of her body, which is not in line with royal traditions, but she also insisted on her position and did not change the dress. The surprises did not end here. A little later, Prince Charles finds his fiancée in a strange state of fear, and when he asks her about it, she tells him that she has social phobia, meaning a feeling of extreme shyness and an inability to act in large gatherings, especially when she is the center of events. This upset Prince Charles very much, as the life of a prince is full of gatherings, as you know. During the engagement period, the prince and princess stayed in one of the queen's houses, and when Princess Diana entered the house, she found a surprise waiting for her on the bed. She found a piece of paper that said, "Congratulations on the engagement. I hope to see your ring. Sincerely, Camilla Parker." Chapter 4: Camilla Parker, the prince's first love, and her shocking surprises. It was surprising because Diana knew that Camilla Parker had left Prince Charles some time ago and married another man, so she felt sick of the letter, because she had heard before that Prince Charles was still in love with Camilla, and she could not believe it. So she did what any wounded woman would: she started crying like a waterfall. Throughout her time with Prince Charles, she cried inconsolably, forcing the prince to cut short the trip and go home. But after the trip, Princess Diana developed a new mental illness called bulimia, which is defined as eating greedily and in large quantities, and then vomiting everything that was eaten. The funny thing is that the press was seeing the betrothed as a happy pair of birds, so much so that on March 1, 1981, when Prince Charles was away for some time, Princess Diana was caught crying heartily by the cameras. The press wrote that day that this was the cry of love and longing for her fiancé, who had traveled and left her for some time, while the truth was that she was crying out forcibly from his relationship with Camilla Parker. That's because, before going to the airport, Charles chose to call only Camilla to say goodbye, and in the presence of his fiancée, Princess Diana, who spent her time crying when she dropped him off at the airport. Princess Diana lived so terrified of a ghost named Camilla Parker, that she seriously considered leaving Prince Charles and breaking off the engagement. But everyone around her convinced her not to think about it. He is the crown prince, and you are the symbol of love in the whole world. But Diana and Charles experienced the worst 3 months of courtship in the whole world, somber, misery, doubt, and turbulence, that Charles was afraid to sit with her in one place. Chapter 5, Let's Get Married, Diana, and Let's Get Away from Here. Come a little closer, my dear Camilla. On the 29th of July 1981, the legendary wedding of Diana and Charles was set in motion. More than 1 million people spread out on the streets for several days to see the newlyweds, and more than 700 million people watched the wedding ceremonies on television screens. As for the cost of the wedding, it exceeded $120 million, but the newlyweds received financial gifts from the congratulators, which are the highest in history, reaching about £300 million from all over the world. Princess Diana had an inner desire that Camilla Parker's whimsy would pass after marriage, and that her husband, Charles, show an interest in his home and his future, but what happened next was unthinkable. When they went on their honeymoon, Charles took 8 books with him to read. It seemed that he was completely lacking in passion, but what was worse was that he also took with him the shirt buttons that Camilla gave him, bearing the first letter of her name. Charles also telephoned Camilla, and spent hours talking to her, often in front of Princess Diana, without respect for her feelings. All of these events had the effect of turning the honeymoon into a month from the bottom of hell. Princess Diana committed suicide, but was saved at the last minute. Chapter 6, Our beautiful first child, William, comes with the depression of the world. On October 1981, the good news finally came: Princess Diana was pregnant. This news, however, is only beautiful in ordinary folk stories. Diana, on the other hand, was suffering from prenatal depression and was crying all day as usual. Even when she told Charles that she was tired, he answered with terrible desperation, "And what's new, you're always tired." Days passed quickly, and on July 21, 1982, Diana gave birth to her first child, William. In fact, after her birth, Prince Charles's attitude changed 180 degrees. He became very interested in the newborn, and spent most of his time at home with him. On the other hand, Princess Diana moved from prenatal depression to postpartum depression. And another entirely different problem began to emerge: jealousy. Chapter 7, Diana, you are very famous, and I am a jealous man. I would like some spotlights like you. This jealousy was not from Diana's side this time, but from Prince Charles's, who began to feel jealous of Diana, because her fame had reached the horizons, and she became the focus of the world's attention due to her charisma and elegant media appearance. At one of the press conferences in Australia, when Charles was riding in the car with Princess Diana, he noticed that people gathered in abundance on the side where the princess was sitting, and the side where the prince was sitting was almost empty, so he joked at that conference, "I think I hear people who lined up at my side saying that they're on the wrong side, they want to see Princess Diana, not me." In 1983, after her problems increased, the family in the palace decided to cure the princess of all her psychological problems, so they brought a specialized psychiatrist. With time, the treatment began to bear fruit, so that when she became pregnant the second time, pregnancy depression did not come to her this time. Perhaps because Charles broke off completely with Camilla Parker, her archenemy. Chapter 8, Temporary Happiness and a New Baby Named Harry, with Suspicious Red Hair. Literally, Diana lived, after Camilla left their lives, the happiest 5 months of her life with Charles, and Charles was eagerly waiting for the second child, and he wanted the baby to be a girl this time. Diana knew that he was a boy, but she hid that fact from him. Then Prince Harry was born on the 15th of September 1984. After his birth, problems reappeared. We can call them genetic problems. Of course, these problems were not caused by the fact that the newborn was not a girl, as the prince desired, but because the newborn was red-haired. Let's go back a little in the time machine. When Princess Diana's postpartum depression came up, the princess thought learning to ride would ease her pain. Her coach was Major James Lifford Hewitt, and during the training, something normal happened. The two fell in love. The problem is that Major James has red hair, and Prince Harry has red hair, and therefore Prince Charles suspected that the baby might not be his son, but rather the son of Major James. That is why he did a genealogical analysis of his two children, to make sure that they were really his children. The analysis proved the opposite of his expectations, and it turned out that they were his sons, from his loins. It is true that Princess Diana then admitted that she had an affair with Major James, but she did not have a sexual relationship until after 1985, that is, after the birth of the red-haired Prince Harry. But before that date, it was an innocent romantic relationship. Chapter 9, Major James, Officer Barry, and Camilla Parker again. In 1986, royal staff began leaking news to the press about the problems Prince Diana was causing to Prince Charles, that she was a fluid, adolescent, and tyrannical girl, and that she controlled her husband and wanted the whole world to obey her mood. Perhaps this is normal for a woman of her age, who has found herself the most famous woman in the world. She herself said in a 1995 interview that her problem was that she became a full-fledged princess before she was a full-fledged woman. She also said that her psychological problems and the successive episodes of depression that afflicted her left her in a permanent state of confusion, and that she was getting out of one relationship and entering into another. Prince Charles then ordered the transfer of Major James to a faraway place, but she took the opportunity and established a relationship with her bodyguard in 1986, Officer Barry Manakee. Charles was again forced to transfer him to a place outside the walls of the royal palace. After that moment, Charles decided to bring out all his demons because Diana's behavior had become unbearable, so the first thing he did was to restore his relationship with Camilla Parker, and his slogan was, "After me the deluge." In 1987, Camilla threw a big party and invited the upper class in society, including Prince Charles of course. At that party, Diana insisted that she go with him, and something happened that would change Princess Diana's life forever. At the party, she met Camilla privately, and said to her, "I know all the details of your relationship with my husband." Camilla replied, "Right, we love each other very much." Then she added, in an angry tone, "What do you want, Diana? You married a prince, became the first lady of the palace, and your fame skyrocketed, and all the men in the world adore you, while all the women covet you. You have lived and achieved all my dreams. What more do you want?" Her answer was so shocking to Princess Diana, who broke down in tears and turned to Charles, and asked to leave the party at once. On the way, Charles blamed her for her behavior, so she burst out screaming, and let out all the feelings and thoughts in her heart. After she emptied her mind of fears that weighed on her, she became calm, as if she was waiting for the beginning of a new era. She began to focus on raising her children, indulged in charitable activities, and forgot about Prince Charles so much that they were no longer seen together. This state of relative calm and charitable work continued until 1992. Chapter 10, The Book of Scandals That Changed the Rules of the Game. That year, a press story came out that turned things upside down. Journalist Andrew Martin wrote a book that tells the story of Diana and Charles. You know, there are about 1,000 books about the story of the two princes, but I assure you that this book was different when it was released. Its author said that every word mentioned in the book was told to him by Princess Diana herself, and that all the information contained in the book was recorded in Princess Diana's personal voice. The book's sales skyrocketed after this confession. The book mainly talks about the scandals of the royal family, of which Prince Charles had the lion's share. In the book, Diana talks about Charles's betrayal, not only with Camilla Parker, but also with his children's nanny, Tiggy Legburke. In the royal palace, things were so tense from this torrent of scandals, which forced the royal family to issue a public statement questioning the credibility of this book, and that it was based on untrue lies. People wanted to know the truth and to verify all the allegations. But Princess Diana was completely silent and never commented on the book, but she had something hidden in her heart. When she was addressing the audience on her first official visit to a charity, she suddenly started crying. It was as if she was sending an indirect message to the world that what was mentioned in the book was completely true. After that, scandals spread in the newspapers on a large scale. The British newspaper, The Sun, wrote a detailed report on the scandals of Princess Diana in particular, and how she was the one who began to betray Prince Charles, to which the Daily Mail newspaper responded by publishing a private recording between Charles and Camilla Parker. To make matters more complicated, Diana appeared on television and admitted that she had actually betrayed Prince Charles and had known other men, but Charles was the one who started the betrayal. It was only Prince Charles that appeared in a televised interview and responded to her claims by saying that it was Diana who betrayed him first, and that he met other women in response to her betrayal on the principle of an eye for an eye. Chapter 11, There is separation, divorce, and a new love named Hasnat Khan. When the late Queen Elizabeth saw this exchange and this farce, she met the couple and said to them, "Tomorrow you have to announce your separation. You will be a married couple, but only on paper. You are actually separated. You have exhausted the kingdom with your problems," and indeed, this thing went smoothly. On September 1995, Princess Diana was visiting a friend in the hospital, but she fell in love with the doctor who performed the operation on her friend. Can you imagine that Diana, whom the men of the world wish had a glance from her, falls in love with an ordinary man, neither handsome nor rich, so quickly? The doctor was Hasnat Khan, a Pakistani, and the princess loved him so madly that her close acquaintances said he was the only love of her life. And when Queen Elizabeth heard this news, she sent another message to Diana and Charles, and this time told them that they had to divorce officially, because she had enough of their scandals. Indeed, in August of 1996, the two princes' divorce was officially announced. It can be said that both were wrong. Diana did not know how to deal with Charles, pulling him to her side, and somehow separating him from Camilla Parker, and also, Charles did not understand the feelings of the child living inside Princess Diana, who needs some time to mature more. After the two divorced, Diana devoted herself to the doctor, Hasnat Khan, and was ready to do anything and everything for him. She didn't even object to living with him in his country, Pakistan. But the surprise was that the doctor, Hasnat Khan, left her and told her that he was very upset about journalists and cameras chasing them everywhere they went, and that he just wanted to live in peace and stability. This is, of course, completely unlike Diana, who was always familiar with the presence of cameras around her, so they quietly separated after a burning love story that lasted for a year and a half. Chapter 12, Welcome, my name is Imad Al-Fayed, and I am the last man in the lives of my princess and mine. A few days after the end of that story, Imad Al-Fayed, or Dodi Al-Fayed, the son of billionaire Mohammed Al-Fayed, appeared and invited her for a picnic on his yacht. After a few weeks, their relationship intensified, and many famous pictures of them spread, but as you know, their story was not completed because they had a car accident on the 30th of August 1997 that killed them instantly. If you are waiting for an analysis of the accident, and the conspiracies and mystery surrounding it, today is not the promised day, but that accident is another story that deserves to be told, so wait for us.